So you're telling me that you can make 5 times more from this one type of copywriting project than writing emails. It's the same amount of work.
I would say maybe 95% they want to call themselves an email copywriter, which is the first thing that AI destroyed. Emails are the easiest thing to replicate with AI. So if you think that you're just going to hand in a Google Doc with a bunch of emails a couple of times a week, that game is over now. They now have the ability to come up with as much copy as they want if they just use AI, but they need somebody who has a strategic mind in order to get that AI generated copy and actually make money with it. Because even right now, the clients are producing copy with AI, but it's hot garbage and they think they're so cool. Oh, look at this copy that I produced with AI. It sucks.
Yeah, it's terrible. It's a slop. It's garbage.
You have to work a lot harder for that 5K retainer or 10K retainer. I'm not just talking about writing words. I'm talking about you need to be talking about strategy with them.
Yeah, this is a shared perspective, bro. So what do you do instead of that? What are the highest paying copywriting projects and what are the highest paying markets?
Whenever you have an industry that has lots of tailwinds and that's like growing really fast, you have a chance to make a lot of money because the industry is what is driving you and as opposed to your skill as a copywriter or the particular business model. So if you can find a way to get into one of those industries, it doesn't matter whether it's e-com, it doesn't matter whether it's services, it doesn't matter whether it's consulting, like you will make a lot of money. So if you are able to write that kind of punchy copy, you'll be writing 3 a day for 5 days a week. You get weekends off. You're working 3 hours a day. You get the rest of the day off and you're making 30 grand a month. If you can manage to sell like 60 scripts.
All right, Nabeel. Hey, welcome back. Nice to have you here again.
Yes. I'm trying to beat your number 1 and number 2 guests who are beating me by a considerable margin. However, I have a secret plan to solve that issue that I've been running for a while.
Good. Because our previous conversation really did get a lot of impressions. A lot of people found a lot of value in what we were talking about last time, especially, what kinds of gigs, what kinds of clients, like how to really grow your copywriting business, especially in the earlier days of your career. And so I brought you back, asked you if you'd be okay to come back and let's have another conversation. And I think that between the two of us, we'll have a very interesting chat about the future for copywriting and the kind of projects that businesses are paying the most money for right now, the highest in demand projects in the world for copywriting. And yeah, let's just start there. Like, what are you finding between the copywriters you coach? What type of projects these days are really popping off?
So I think a good place to start is, and I'll answer your question because I know exactly what the clients are paying most for right now. What are they not paying for? So we have, I think, in at least my community, Copy Skills, we have, I would say maybe 95% are like they want to call themselves an email copywriter, which is the first thing that AI destroyed, right? Emails are the easiest thing to replicate with AI. So if you are trying to be an email copywriter, and I think you've talked about this a lot as well, if you think that you're just going to hand in a Google Doc with a bunch of emails a couple of times a week, that game is over now.
Yeah.
So what I have found, even though clients are still paying really well, like you have to work a lot harder for that 5K retainer or 10K retainer. I'm not just talking about writing words. I'm talking about like you need to be talking about strategy with them. You need to be actually giving input on the marketing calendar and the promotional calendar. And that's what they are actually paying for. I think they now have the ability to come up with as much copy as they want if they just use AI. But they need somebody who has a strategic mind in order to actually get that AI generated copy and actually make money with it. Because even right now, the clients are producing copy with AI, but it's hot garbage. Like I have seen what my clients are producing with AI and they think they're so cool. Oh, look at this copy that I produced with AI. It sucks.
Yeah. It's terrible. It's a slop. It's garbage. I think that's a great place to start this conversation because I know many copywriters, and I've talked about this in previous videos too, many copywriters, they do think that the money is in email copy, or let's even call it Facebook ad copy, because that's what many people were telling copywriters to write, like go write Facebook ads, go write emails. I think it's a great entry point in the past. You could use it as a great entry point to start your career. And it was also very easy to sell that as a course. I'm not even joking when I say I had a friend of mine and we were busy talking about creating a product to coach copywriters, right? We were just talking about ideas for what product to create. And he told me, he's like, bro, just make an email course. Because if you make an email course and you charge $997 or $2,000, you can just within 2-3 months, you can deliver all the material that they need to write emails. You can get them started writing these super simple emails and you'll be able to make a lot of money, but like also give them a skill that they can use. And my response was, yes. I mean, technically I could do the skill within 2-3 months. I mean, I've done that. I did that previously when in 2021, when we had the copy dojo. Back then was the email dojo. We only focused on email back then. And we did, like, I trained them on email marketing within 5-7 weeks. You know, you could learn to write emails. But I said to my friend, Nabeel, I said, it doesn't make sense because if I go teach these guys email copywriting and sell a program, I'm setting them up for a market that doesn't exist anymore. Like, I'm training them to write for something where there's no business. Like, yes, there's obviously a lot of email clients, but there's no actual, that's not what business owners are like. They don't go to sleep at night being like, oh man, I really wish I had an email copywriter that could fix my email marketing. Like, if I could fix that, everything would be better. They're not thinking about that. They're thinking, how do we acquire customers at less cost? Because the costs just keep going up. And now I'm being told I have to be compliant everywhere. So how do I have compliant copy that can get more attention and I can spend less money to get the same customers? Or like every single year, the ad costs or the acquisition costs just keep going up and up and up. And is it like, is that normal? Is everybody's ad costs going up? Or is it just my business's ads that are going, like the costs going up? You know, like this is sort of the burning pain point, I would say, that business owners are going to sleep. They're waking up and they're seeing costs for leads that if they were in business 3-5 years ago, it's like, why is it so expensive? That email might, you know, give you a 10 to 20% lift in the business, maybe 30% if you're really good. But, you know, 30% improvement, it doesn't make that, like, if you're spending $1 to acquire a customer and, you know, you're getting $2 back, that 30% lift is like 30 cents. It's not the same as like, we're spending $1, how do we get $5 back? You know, like that's, I think, what they're actually thinking about, you know?
I will say that there is a corollary to this where the opportunity, if you are an email copywriter, exists where your job is to unfuck the email, the AI generated email copy that your clients have generated. That's number one. That opportunity is still there, but you actually have to be good. First of all, like that's not the majority of email copywriters out there. The other opportunity is on the MarTech side of things, where you know how to do, like, you know how to mess around with GHL, or you know how to mess around with HubSpot, or you know how to mess around with Bento. And that is where, like, a couple of the members inside Copy Skills have gone down that path. And one of our copywriters is doing very well with that, where he's now the marketing manager. He has a couple of partnerships where he's got like an equity stake in the business, and like he's doing pretty well just off of that, where you're not an email copywriter anymore. You're more like the email list manager, or a higher level of that, you're like the martech manager, and you know how to do all of these automations and build apps and things like that. And then that's just generally where you want to go, is you want to just add more skills to your stack, right? Instead of just writing copy.
Yeah, there's definitely opportunities for email copy and email, like, let's say, list management or just CRM management on the back end. I think you close that as like a secondary deal a lot of the time. Unless somebody's offering that like directly on a job post, I would say majority of it, you go into the business to fix their funnel, optimize their conversions, improve their cost per lead. And then you see the back end and you say, hey, we fixed the funnel. We have the creatives that we need on the ad front. Let me improve the percentage of profit by 20 to 30% on the email list. It's a back end sort of upsell. I see most copywriters I'm working with now, it's become our back end offer, you know, which is quite powerful. I mean, it's a really great recurring. I mean, it's 3 to 5K a month. I think for majority of deals I've seen is like 3 to 5K a month, sometimes more. One copywriter I work with, $8,000 a month to do the back end email copy, you know, so and run the list. So, you know, you can still make great money there, but it is that back end sort of service, right? What have you found is some of the markets? What are some of the markets that are the highest paying right now for copywriters?
So high ticket still exists. One of my biggest retainer is with a high ticket consulting business. So that's still there if you like if you're good enough to get one of those jobs. But those jobs are very competitive because everybody wants to write for coaches, consultants, and course creators, right? Um, if you can if you can get a job writing for SaaS companies, that is ideal because it's not a lot of work. Like the dollar per hour is higher, right?
Oh,
You're not
interesting.
you're not doing a ton of like you don't need to be like at the highest level of copywriting skill to get results for a SaaS business. Even though like proper SaaS marketing is really quite complicated and requires serious expertise. So I like high ticket in SaaS. I have a client who's in the peptide space, and that has a lot of tailwinds. So just in general, whenever you have an industry that has lots of tailwinds and that's like growing really fast, then you can potentially make a lot of money because like you don't have to be that I don't have to be that good to sell peptides.
Mm.
When I say peptides, I mean like GLP-1s, Ozempic, semaglutide, those kinds of drugs or supplements. Like everybody already knows about them, and they already know about the efficacy so that they work. And also there's like a ton of like mainstream appeal, right? So this e-commerce business, like when I started writing the emails in January, all I did was set up a few automations, and they were like the first month they did like 900 and something per month dollars, and now they're like close to, well, they did 3 million last month or the month before, and they did like just shy of 3 million last month. And the email revenue is like hovering around 1 million a month for the last 2 months, right? So
Nice.
there, like
Yeah.
you have a chance to make a lot of money because the industry is what is driving you, and as opposed to your skill as a copywriter
It's
or
a
the
very good
particular
point.
business model,
Hmm.
right? So if you can find a way to get into one of those industries, and it doesn't matter whether it's e-com, it doesn't matter whether it's services, it doesn't matter whether it's um, consulting. Like you will make a lot of money. So like that particular sort of like overarching topic or theme, which is like telehealth, they would call it sometimes, where it's like services plus the supplements that get them on subscription. That particular industry is booming right now, and there's a chance to make a lot of money. So if you can find a job writing, like even if you're the guy that sells courses about those drugs, like you will make a lot of money because that in like
Mm.
that there's like a subculture or a super ego or what Alan Sultanish calls a superstructure that is driving
Mm.
that's driving the growth of the industry.
This is a really great point for copywriters because every time you look at the industry, you're looking at what was happening. If you, with most courses or with most like people they're out of date, right? They don't know. So like for example, many copywriters used to be going after Amazon coaches. Oh, I want to work with an Amazon FBA coach. Bro, it's 2025. like like that market, I don't know how quite to use the word superstructure, but if I were to just put it in my perspective is like that wave is kind of gone now, because that was booming. Everybody was stuck at home. They were getting payments from the government. The only time that they had exposure with the outside world back in 2020, 2021 is an Amazon parcel, Amazon delivery. So if that's your entire experience, I'm getting all these Amazon deliveries all the time. Like, there must be something here. There must be a way to make money from this industry. Like, that's the only time I'm exposed to the outside world. E-com is the future. That's what everybody was thinking, whether they were in BizOp or not. It's like e-com is clearly the future because everybody's stuck at home. So everything is delivery online. It's such an easy sale to say Amazon FBA. Like, why don't you get paid to do this? Because half of Amazon sellers are just regular people like you and me. So then that trend took off, and I mean, there's still lots of Amazon coaches today, but I wouldn't say that it's as booming as back in 2020. Like every ad on Facebook, every ad on YouTube, every ad, there were just Amazon coaches everywhere. In fact, one of the copywriters I was working with back then, who made 60 grand, I think, last month, by the way, So he's really grown since then. But back then he was still at like 5K. He was like, I'm going to go all in, just focusing on Amazon coaches. That's how big the market felt back then. So it is interesting that, the market does keep moving. There are different industries. I mean, like Amazon automation, not Amazon, AI automation. There's a lot of marketing that's needed for AI automation in BizOp, for example. But every market is moving, and you got to go where the money is. You got to go where the new solutions are. The first to market people that are like really growing quickly. You mentioned that in SaaS you can get a higher dollar per hour for your time writing the copy. Now, I've done a bit of SaaS copy. I would say, when I say a bit, like, a decent portion. But what does that mean? Like, what does it mean that you get to make so much more with the same amount of work in SaaS?
Right. So if I'm coming at it from the perspective of an email copywriter, which is what most people they come to me for, that's just how my reputation has been sort of built. The SaaS emails that are being written, they're not that great in the market in general. So for me to come in and improve those emails or write better emails than that, it doesn't take, like, my baseline level of skill is enough. I don't need to be Stefan Georgi to like write some SaaS emails that sell memberships or sell subscriptions, right? So in order for me to write those emails, I can do them faster. And on top of that, if I have copy systems,
Yeah,
if I have copy
sounds good.
systems, right?
Yeah.
Or if I have copy systems plus an AI bot that uses copy systems to take the rest of the work out of it, because copy systems has some work. Let me remove all of that work and just let AI plus copy systems do all of the work for me. Then it becomes even faster. Now my job is just being a copy chief and reviewing the copy and making sure that it's at a level that I would be satisfied with sending it to the client. But having said that, like, you actually have to have skills to be able to do that, because that once you get the AI generated copy back, even though you saved a bunch of time, like, do you know how to edit the copy so that it doesn't look like AI wrote it, and it doesn't look like every other email that is being generated, even the well edited AI ones. Because even the well written, well edited AI generated pieces of copy, they all have their little AI tells. Like, for example, I have stopped enumerating things in threes now, because just every second or third paragraph,
Yeah.
AI is giving me things in threes.
Three,
Like,
three,
bro,
three.
like, vary your syntax a little bit. How are you so repetitive? And so I've stopped using a lot of different conventions that are typically best practices, when you're writing, short sentences, short paragraphs, all those things. I am now making my sentences longer. I'm adding more clauses to my sentence, just so that it doesn't look like AI has written the copy. When having said that, now I've just went on a tangent. But the idea is, with SaaS, because they are not that great at marketing, most of them, the level of copy you need to bring to the table requires less work, and because you're doing less work and you're getting paid the same amount, your dollar per hour is higher. It's the same, for example, if we go to the opposite end of the spectrum, if we talk about selling to local services business and running ads for them. That service requires very little work, and you're charging, $500 a month to this local service business. Yeah, you can write home about it. Yeah, you can build like a big personal brand about writing for, this 8-figure launch or this 10-figure launch for this 10-figure company. But it's like, it's good, honest money, and you're making your 20K a month or 30K a month, $500 at a time. Plus, it's easy to deliver once you actually sell them, even though those local services businesses are quite skeptical and tend to be frugal for the most part. Once you do get in with them, like, for example, John Caprani, his entire business is that now. Actually delivering the work for those clients is very easy. And, AI can handle a lot of it. All you're doing is really, pressing a few buttons and connecting a few automations to send the leads to the clients. So that is a high dollar per hour activity, which you can then upsell them into additional services as well.
It's interesting that it's like this bell curve, because you have these sort of businesses that don't have the sophistication, and their market isn't at the point where they need this very, very, very high in-depth copy. It's just like they're either first to market or they're these local businesses. And if you serve those businesses, you can it's just the work is a lot easier. I guess we could just use the word easier, like in terms of effort and skill. And then you have this middle ground where it's like all these, just a lot of mess, lots of different businesses all trying to figure out all these different complex things. They're not scaling, they're stuck, they're trying to figure out, rebuild their offer, like an info, for example. And then you have the other side of the bell curve, like the top section, which is the 7 and 8 figure info coaches, the 7 and 8 figure D2C e-commerce guys that have really dialed in funnels. A lot of the, the influencers that have like info products that are really sharp, and the Instagram guys, and they require very sophisticated, very, very, very well written copy to deal with the competition in their marketplace. So you got like both sides. It's like either really, really simple or really, really difficult. It's like I don't really find that the money is in the middle as often as it used to be. Where it's like, I think back in 2020, it's like that middle section is, oh, just write email copy. Writes a couple emails on a Google Doc and send it, and it doesn't really matter which business it is. They're going to find value in that. Whereas now, it's that middle group. I don't know. That's not so. It's not so. Yeah, that's interesting.
That's a really good point. What I found is I tend to look at that bell curve slightly differently. So on, let's say, like, you have the low end of the bell curve, right? Right. The low end of the bell curve is like what I talked about, like local business agency, right? Where you're just writing, you're launching a couple of video ads in Facebook Ads Manager, geo-targeted, and then you have an automation set up to send the leads to go high level, and an automation to send an SMS to the client. Hey, call this lead. They just came in, right? So that's the low end where it's like it's anybody can do that. You don't need to be, this A-list copywriter, right? And then on the other far end of the spectrum is the fractional CMO / creative director / creative strategist, where like you need to bring like the highest level of skills to that job, and that's where you're going to get paid the big bucks. Your 10K a month retainer, your 15K a month retainer, 20K a month retainer plus royalties, etc. So that's where so in both sides of the bell curve you're making a lot of money, but it's the level of skills that you need to bring to the table is different. And in the middle is where you have your what did we say? We said email copywriters, ad copywriters,
Yeah.
Social media copywriters, that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's a lot more of a mess. It's a lot more. The return for the business is always sort of difficult to measure as well, because it's like, oh great, we got more impressions. Thanks. Like, don't know. There's what exactly was the return? Whereas with those local businesses, you instantly know the effectiveness of your campaigns, right? And on the other side, with the businesses where you're the marketing director, you own the entire outcome for the business of generating the more leads. So it doesn't really matter how direct the attribution is. It's like those were your creatives, that entire campaign you built. Therefore, we just look at the total cost for that campaign and the total return, and it's very easy to track like your direct involvement in that. So yeah, the market's moving fast, that's for sure. I think this is an important conversation for many copywriters. I don't think many copywriters are thinking about these things. I think a lot of copywriters have had been a bit of a disservice to many copywriters, because a few years ago there were a lot more coaches that were talking about the stuff that was relevant then. But there's a lot of guru coaches and a lot of people that just kind of have frozen themselves in time. They're not really active in the market anymore, and they've been talking about the stuff that's no longer relevant. And so if I'm a copywriter and I'm getting started today and I listen to all these people telling me, like this email copy things where you should go and you should do this and you should do this, and it's like the conversation we're having here is very, very different to that. It's like, this is what's actually happening for the hundreds and hundreds of copywriters I'm working with, and all the copywriters you're working with. It's like, this is actually in the trenches, real data, real time, not 3 years old. I think a lot of copywriters, they got lost in that. I mean, I was literally chatting to a copywriter the other day who was using a performance model to close clients. Like, don't pay me and I'll write this copy and just pay me a percentage of the sales. And the guy's been using this performance model for years, and he's still using a model from like 3 years ago. And I told him, bro, this is a trend that, you could have had a good trend back in 2022 with this model. There would have been a few business owners would have taken you up on it. But the amount of people sending outreach today, the amount of copywriters sending outreach, the amount of people trying to use this same performance-based pitch, you're lost in the noise. Like, this pitch is not going to work so well in 2025, even though it used to work. And so, I mean, that's why actually that's one of the biggest reasons why I wanted, to bring you back, is to get this real-time perspective of like what actually does this industry look like today? What do copywriters actually do to make money today? What are the highest paying projects today? What are the most profitable markets today? Like, and what are the skills that they need? Like there's a lot there, but like I think like for the rest of this conversation, I think we'll hopefully be able to solve all of that stuff.
If you want to work on performance, just launch your own offer. Why do you give like the best part of you, like the best part of yourself, the
Yes.
most
Yeah.
risk taking that you can do, and the highest potential upside? Why do you give it away to somebody else? Why not
Let's
do a
go.
little bit of research, or take a little bit of time to build a personal brand and launch your own offer? Don't launch a copywriting offer, okay, copy coaching offer, because we already both of
It's
us
over,
already
bro.
have
Yeah.
copy
It's
coaching
too late
offers.
for that one.
Yeah, it's too like there's too many competitors. Plus, you have to deal with like Cardinal Mason and all those guys who are making like $1 million a month. It's
Yeah.
just don't bother. But why don't you go into a blue ocean thing? Like I've been thinking for the longest time. My kids are homeschooled. I want to create like a homeschooling offer. Imagine how easy that would be to easy that would be to sell rather than selling copywriting to copywriters.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you want to work on performance, why are you giving that away? Why are you giving
Yeah.
like the
Yeah.
best part
Yeah.
of yourself away? So now, like I got a couple of leads, right? Both of them wanted me to like run their lists. And I'm thinking they were thinking like, okay, they have a big list, they have a good personal brand, I can get somebody to do this on pure performance. I said, no, I said, okay, we'll do it on performance, but you got to put your nuts on the table. There's going to be an onboarding fee.
Yeah.
So one of them I quoted 10K as the onboarding fee, which was admittedly a bit high. And then the second one I quoted him a 5K. And even that the guy denied, even though this guy he should be pretty well to do. Like he's like a big personal brand in buying and selling businesses. The other guy is a massive personal brand with, millions of followers and things like that. So, I get that they don't want to pay an upfront onboarding, setup fee. No problem. That's cool. But also that's my way of filtering out people who aren't that serious about working with me. And maybe it should be, maybe it's that I don't have enough proof that would give me enough authority in their eyes to drop the onboarding fee. But I have other projects I can work with. I can work
Yeah.
on. I have my own offers. Like why do I have to like work on pure performance to sell your offer when I'm already working on pure performance on my own offers? Like I might as well just spend more time doing that, right? My copy
Mm.
skills offer or my Muslim offer, both of which need time. They are actual businesses. They're not like side
Yeah.
hustles or things like that, right? They are actually, if I'm the copywriter, copy skills and Muslim man are my client. They're my clients, and
Mm-hmm.
I ought to treat them like my clients. So is Dropkick Copy, my email marketing agency, right? So why would I work on pure performance for some other random person when I already have 3 pure performance deals, sitting in my back pocket that need my time and attention. So if that's the case, that's where I think about working on pure performance now. So now I'm at the level where I have enough like years under my belt. I have enough client success stories where I don't have to deal with it anymore. Plus, I have enough
Mm.
cash flow coming in anyway from my client work where I don't need to take bets on these people. Like they need me much more than I need them. And in fact, I told one of these prospects, listen, you're coming to me. Like there's a reason why you came to me to help you manage your list. It's because right now you need me more than I need you. So if you're not willing to pay that onboarding fee, then that's cool, man. We can go our separate ways. No hard feelings.
Mm.
Which is sort of like a long rant, but that's what I think about performance deals.
Yeah. The thing with performance deals, right? And I tell copywriters this all the time. When you are building somebody else's business, and especially with info, like info is all information, right? It's just a promotion cycle. A lot of these guys are just a personal brand. They build this large personal brand and then they just do promotion after promotion. So the whole business is actually just the marketing department most of the time. Like if you have a course, of course there's fulfillment and there is a sales team for many high ticket, but a lot of the time marketing is driving everything. Marketing is really creating all the results. So if I'm coming into a business and you're telling me I want you to make, you the CEO, and you tell me as the marketer, you need to generate $20 million of revenue this year for the business. Like, you need to bring that much money in. And if you work really hard, we'll give you 3%, like 5%. It's like, so I'm responsible to bring $20 million into your business, and I'm getting that small little piece. I think it's totally different in something like SaaS, where there's an equity value, but I think with personal brands and info, it's a big ask, and it's a big ask. I could make so much more money just serving myself and like building my own business, like the same as you, right? Like, I could build my own office, or I could, do what John's doing and work with local businesses. Like, I can do so many things to build my own business. It's a lot easier. I would just make $1 million for myself. I would say it's a lot easier to make $1 million for myself if it's info, right? It's info. It's not like you're building software here. It's like, I could make $1 million for myself much, much quicker than $20 million for this monster business that sells, I don't know, something that might not even be the trend. It might not even be the market 2-3 years from now. So I think that there's obviously opportunity. I mean, you can be a marketing director, and you can be a fractional CMO, and you can do all those roles. Just keep in mind that you're building that business. You're learning a lot of skills, but if you leave, it's like all gone. Like, that's their business. You built this thing, you spent years and years, and now when you leave, it's gone. Whereas with copywriting, you're writing copy, you're getting better at the craft, but you're getting clients from the clients that you've already got. And I think you can just build a more like profitable freelance business. I wouldn't do it unless the business came to you and it's the perfect deal. I wouldn't really go that route. I don't think that going that full stack CMO route usually is the best on your hour, especially if you have to drive teams and stuff. I mean, most copywriters didn't come into this to be a business, like to be a director. I think most copywriters became copywriters because they want to sit and enjoy the craft, right? Like, sure, there are some copywriters that are more business focused and they want to go drive departments and build companies. But I don't think most copywriters want to go build massive companies. I think most of us, we just want to express our creativity and have a good time writing something that helps and solves a problem, right? So, I think the performance deal, that's the problem with it. I think the performance deal, the spirit of a performance deal is we're busy building somebody else's business and driving business. You're now a business growth operator, and that's not really what a copywriter is. A copywriter is much more like doing the task of writing copy. So I think it misaligns from that perspective too.
And, to be honest, I'm cool with that, but it can't be just me taking 100% of the risk, which is why I said setup fee or onboarding fee before. So what you're saying is you want me to come in, you want me to take 100% of the risk, and all you got to do is sit back and wait for the cash to come in. How does that work? And I know people have built their entire business around this model. Like, for example, Travis Sago, back end kind of selling machine, right? Where the entire agency is a back end agency, where the pitch of the offer, the selling proposition is, you don't pay me until the cash hits your account. So it's not even revenue; it's a percentage of like the profit that hits his bank account afterwards. But then I have a client who actually allowed Travis Sago to, test a back-end offer to his list, and that offer bombed. So even that doesn't work all the time.
Yeah.
Right. And I only have one example, where we have a mutual client in common, but I'm sure that Travis Sago doesn't hit 100% wins every single time. I'm sure he's got that campaigns that bomb. But that's fine. He is in a position now where he can gamble like that. And I am in a position now, and you are also in a position now where we can gamble like that. We're like, if I wanted to take a pure performance deal, I could have, with these two clients that I suggested setup fees to. But okay, if I'm gonna gamble, then I'm just gonna gamble on my own offers. Why would I gamble on your business? So yeah, I think once you get to a certain point, it makes more sense to actually do things like that for your own offer, and also like. Yeah, you can probably maybe set aside one deal or two deals out of your portfolio of business, where most of the business, let's say 80 to 90% of the cash is retainer or project fees, and then you set aside one client a month or one client a quarter, where you make these kinds of bets with what they call a barbell strategy applied to your freelancing business. And in that way, you've got cash flow coming in, and okay, now you've got this chance. You've got you're nicely taken care of, and you got this, like, one project that could, potentially generate a major upside. I tried that a couple of times not last year, but a year before. And the bet actually didn't pan out, so
Yeah.
it didn't work out in my favor. But that's okay, because I was only risking maybe 10% of my time on that particular project, hoping that it would pan out, as opposed to the 90% where I worked for cash flow. So having said that, I think we actually haven't talked about the highest paying jobs in copywriting yet, have we? So,
Yeah.
like, well, let me ask you this: like, you have a lot of data points in Copy Dojo and the copywriters that you work with. So, what are the highest paying gigs that are paying right now?
I like it. Well, I'll be happy to answer that in a second. Before I do, though, no, but
Open
I just wanted
loops.
to quickly, I want to cover one quick thing there that I think also can really just, you know, is like the final nail in the coffin for performance deals. Is think about it this way: if a business owner knows how to make the money from the offer, why would they want to give you a percentage of it instead of just giving you a simple retainer? And if they don't know how to make the money, then you also have a problem because it's their business, and you can't outperform the CEO, right? So if they have a good business and it's making good money, they would prefer to just pay you cash. I mean, I would just prefer to pay most people cash. I don't want to pay performance. Like, I'll just give you cash. Like, do the job, cash. I don't want to give you equity. I don't want to give you profit share. I want to give you cash. I'll just pay you more cash. I'll pay you premium cash. I just do the project because I know how I'm going to use that project to make me all the money I actually need. And if I had no idea what I needed to do, and I was less experienced entrepreneur, I guess I would probably maybe do something like that and be like, oh, you get this thing and we build it together. Like, I find a lot of these projects, a lot of these startup projects, because I'm now in that world where I'm getting people that will come to me. And I mean, somebody came to me last week and wanted to know if I'd be open to doing a project with them. And, like, I made actually 8 referrals last week to businesses, for copywriters and marketing hires for some big people too. Like 3 of them were like million a month businesses. So, I've been meeting some really cool people, but I'm often getting these projects, these like startup opportunity projects, and they're asking me if I can refer somebody. And sometimes I don't want to refer anybody because I'm like, you don't even know what you're doing yet. Like, why is a copywriter going to help you with this? Most of the businesses that need really good copy, they're already at $1 million per year because they've already figured out product market fit. To take that from the SaaS industry is like, once you have product market fit, then the copy is really going to explode. But you first have to have a product that the market actually needs, right? So a lot of these performance deals, it just goes back to that. It's like, if I knew how to make money, I'd rather just pay you cash because I know how to make money for my own business, So that's why I avoid those deals majority of the times, because they actually don't know how to make money, which means you're making the money for them. And it goes back to what, your point was, Nabeel, is like, well, why would you go and build somebody else's business and they get all the upside, So it's okay. So what do you do instead? Now we talk about this, right? So what do you do instead of that? So what are the highest paying copywriting projects and what are the highest paying markets? Well, I would say from my experience with in the last 2 years with over 100 6-figure copywriters, I would say that the biggest, highest paying projects, there are 2 main ones. There's full stack funnel copy. So the actual funnel pages that do the selling for the business, the funnel copy, and the video copy. And the main 2 niches for that, I mean, you're in the SaaS world more, so you will know the profitability and the best way to enter into SaaS. So that's cool that there's another channel. But the ones I'm mostly in is info and ecom D2C. It's like D2C, ecom, and info, and funnel copy and video copy. Those are like, that's where the money is. At least in the world I'm in, because they need funnels, because those funnels do all the heavy lifting, right? If you have a good funnel in info and you're selling a high ticket course and you have a very good funnel, the sales process gets so much easier. The amount of people that buy from the same amount of traffic goes up. If you have a high ticket offer, like, it can change the entire business to have a good funnel. In info, the asset literally is the funnel. Like, there's not much equity in an info business, especially the personal brands, right? Because it's their face. So what's the asset, the true asset in that business? Well, it's the team. It's the organic content. Perhaps it's the brand. But the actual sales process is the funnel. That's the asset, is making money from the funnel. So All these smart infopreneurs, they're always building funnels. They're always building new funnels. They're always building new promotion sequences. They're always building new launches. It's all just funnel copy. They're producing funnels to create these assets that generate them cash again and again and again. And that's where all the big money is, because if you have a funnel that's going to generate $10 million for your business, I would not want AI to write me that funnel. I'd rather pay $50,000. You know, like Jason Fladlien will charge $150,000 for a webinar, right? It's like, that's a lot of money. Why is it he able to charge that much money? And he's booked out for months, because that's $150,000 for a webinar that's about to make $2.5 million. It's not expensive. It's like, without that script, the webinar might only do $1.8 million. That's $700,000 that they missed out on if they didn't have Jason. And then they also have to allocate their entire team to go write the webinar that they don't know how to do. Better to just have Jason come in and help them to do that, you know? So like, you know, I know a lot of people watching this are not at the level where they're going to feel comfortable. I mean, I'm not comfortable charging $150,000 for a webinar script, but that's where the money is, right? It's like the funnel copy, optimizing funnels, improving the headlines, improving the leads of VSLs, optimizing the above the fold copy, you know, deciding which funnels to even use for a business, deciding on all the copy assets that contribute to the funnel. You know, email now suddenly has a place. Retargeting ads have a place. All that stuff kind of contributes, right? So that's what I see as the big projects. I find that if you're a really good copywriter and you're already making, let's just say $60,000 per year and more, I think that this is a really good place to go next to really take your skill to the next level, because you have the skills. You can probably write a lot of short form copy, but to get yourself from $60K a year to $200,000 per year to $250,000 per year, that range, funnel copy is going to be, you know, I think the core skill, you know. So that's for the more advanced writers, I would say, Nabeel. Like the more advanced writers is D2C ecom, right? Is because it's like the VSLs and the amount of ad spend that they're pushing behind these physical products and the amount of money that's going behind those ads. You need good copy, and you need so many different creatives, because Facebook will also put expiration dates, or Meta expires the ad set after a certain time frame. So they always need new creative. Otherwise, the ads stop performing. So like the amount of copy that's the demand for copy for ecom is just through the roof, right? So that's for the more advanced that's for the more advanced copywriters. Now, I'd say for the newer writers, this is what I was actually thinking when I wanted to record this with you, is I actually wanted to talk about this, because I know that, you know, now we've come together and we've got Copywriting Launchpad, our free school community, right? And we're, you know, actually maybe we can share a couple of things about that before I even get into like the number one project for like newer copywriters. But yeah, like we've got a new school community. I would even say it's new. Like there's already 4,000 people in there, right? So it's actually quite an established community. So we've got an established school community called Copywriting Launchpad. And yeah, Nabeel, would you mind sharing a little bit about it real quick?
Yeah, we bought it from Alicia Joseph. I'm hoping that's within the school terms of service where you can buy and sell communities. If not, Sam Almonds, don't come for us. Don't ban our community. So Alicia Joseph contacts me. She says, Nabeel, I'm thinking of focusing on my client business now. I don't want to be a guru anymore, which is, to be honest, it's a smart move for somebody like Alicia, because I think she has she's really, really talented, and she can do a lot more. Like she can make a lot more money, like just helping clients out versus helping beginner copywriters out. Even though, you know, they can, you know, follow her journey along on her YouTube channel where she has a personal brand. So Alicia messages me and says, "Hey, I wanna you know, sell my school community. Would you be interested?" So I asked her how much, and then as she tells me a price, I said, "Okay, let me speak to Matthew." In fact, she said she was going to ask you as well. She was going to ask either you or me whether we wanted to get it. So I said, let me speak to Matthew, see if he wants to go halfsies on it with me. And then I messaged you. You said yes, and so we did the deal right there. I don't think she was expecting the deal to get done so fast. We paid her.
Yeah.
I paid her same day. She got the first payment
Yeah.
same day. So anyway, we did that deal. She transferred over the community this month, so now we are the owners. We've made a few changes to the community design and setup and things like that, and so now it's ready for us to start, promoting promoting our own products and also creating content for that community. So that community is a free school community for beginner copywriters or newer copywriters. I wouldn't say beginner, who are, on their journey and they're looking for a place to start. Because we always get these DMs, right? I don't know if you get these DMs, but I get these DMs a lot. It's like, hey, Nabeel, I'm interested in copywriting. How do I get started? Bro,
That's the one, right?
I can't. Oh my God, dude. In a world where acquisition.com exists and $100 million offers and $100 million leads and $100 million money models, all three of those courses are free on that website. From A to Z, it's a literal MBA in entrepreneurship, business, marketing, whatever you want to call it. You are DMing me and saying, how do I get started? Please, I can't anymore. It's one of the reasons why I created Copy Skills in the first place, because I could send them a payment link. Hey Nabeel, how do I get started? Payment link.
Payment link.
Here's the payment link. Go buy, join Copy Skills.
I
Now
like it. Yeah.
Matthew was kind enough to say, let's keep the group active and not just strip it for the list. So now we have a free place where you can go called Copywriting Launchpad. If you Google Copywriting Launchpad, odds are we'll be the first result that pops up. And so when you join the community, there is a nice free course created by Alicia. It's called Copywriter Starter Kit, where it goes through all of the fundamentals. And it's not even a video course, it's a written course, which means you can consume it faster and get to the actual exercises and writing copy and practicing much faster. So it's got that. It's got the Copywriter Starter Kit, right? That's the free course. And inside the Copywriter Starter Kit, beyond the fundamentals, there is an AI cheat sheet where you can use AI as your copy chief and copy editor. So now, let's say you're from the global south, right? You're from a country where English is your second language or even third language, and your English isn't that great. The biggest problem that most global south copywriters have is English is their second language. It's not that they don't know how to write copy. Before they can actually start learning how to write copy, before they can even read breakthrough advertising, they need to read a book on how to write coherent English sentences, which is why we have a set of book recommendations inside the community of what to read first if you're an English as a second language speaker before you start reading copywriting books. So that's step number one. And now, because of AI, you can sound like you are a native English speaker by just writing your copy in your accent. Because copy, I don't know if you've noticed this, but certain countries, they'll write copy in an accent. Like, I'll know when an Indian copywriter writes a piece of copy because he has his own Indian colloquialisms. Nigerian copywriter has their own, Jose has their own accent. An Asian copywriter has their own accent. So now you just use that prompt, that AI cheat sheet prompt, and it'll edit your copy for you and make you sound like you're a native English speaker. So there's a bunch of different cheat sheets and stuff in there, bonuses. You join Copywriting Launchpad, and as long as you get to level 2, which means you have to do a little bit of engaging first, you will get access to that free program. And so if you're looking for a place to start, that's as good a place as any.
Yeah, I like that, and I appreciate that you've added so much of so much stuff already as well. I have a few things I also plan to be adding in the near future. I can't disclose yet because it's top secret stuff. But being able to be a part of a community where we can help people for free, I think is really nice, and it's this kind of spirit that I want to carry in this industry. Is just like, let's help people that actually want to learn the craft, because this is a real skill that has real value. It's not going anywhere. AI is not going to replace copy. The more I've seen people trying to solve this problem with AI, the less I've seen actually people being able to solve this. You can't replace copywriters. It's just such a high-paying skill, high-in-demand skill, and there should be a place where real-time conversations are happening, where it's like exactly what's actually happening, because that's, I think, the biggest problem for most copywriters is literally, like you said, it's like, how do I get started? It depends when you ask that question. If you asked me how do I get started in 2020, I would have given you very different advice to how it's just you get started today. And I'm about to tell you what I think the best projects are to get started. in just a moment, But before I talk about that, I'm using that line again. I really enjoy that line. I can't do it with a serious face though, But in all seriousness, it's like you can't just expect that there's one straightforward way to get started in an industry like this, because this is not a super regulated space. There's no accredited university for copywriting yet, right? There's no university for copywriting where you can go through the process. There's no bar exam for copywriting. There's no professional legal, there's no board of copywriters where it's a very, very open market. So anything can kind of go, and every market pops off in different ways and goes different directions. And if you're not in the trenches and you're not around the people actively in the industry making six figures, the market just moves on and you have no idea what's happening, So I actually would, part of the reason I did this with you, Nabeel, is because I actually wanted to have a place where I can talk about, what's actually happening in the industry real time, what's happening in the industry real time without a paywall. Because that's the biggest problem, I think, is you don't want to have to pay $5,000 to a copy coach to learn what the state of the industry is. I totally get spending $5,000 to learn how to write copy and have professional skill development, but just to know where the industry is and where it is today and what's happening right now, this is something that's relevant for not even beginner copywriters. This is relevant for all copywriters. It's what's actually happening. And, I'm very fortunate that, now that I've worked with over 1,000 copywriters privately, I have that data. And between, I have the data for D2C, ecom, and info, you have the SaaS data, and you have a lot of other data from other industries. It's collectively, we have a very real-time conversation. And we're going to actually be doing a few other interviews and a few other conversations in that group exclusively. So I'm going to put the link to, Copywriting Launchpad in the description. I would say that this is definitely the place that you want to go as a copywriter if you're looking to close those first higher paying clients that actually give you a launch pad for your career. Because that's what it was for me. When I started my career, the real launch for me was closing that first big business. Because they gave me the data, they gave me training, they integrated me into their copywriting systems. I got brand recognition because I could leverage their brand. That's the launch pad for copywriters. If you're a freelancer and you have 5 small little gigs here and there, it's hard to keep building momentum. You need that one big gig that launches your career. And it's the same for every single copywriter I've ever had a conversation with. It's they got that one gig that launched their career. Once they got that gig, they were making money for the rest of their career. And, they never had to go back down to zero, or they never really had the same struggles again. So that's the inspiration also behind the name Copywriting Launchpad. Is it's not just, not just for beginners, not just for newer copywriters. It's how do you launch the career and actually have a career, and what type of projects pay well? Which markets are paying well? Which people are looking for what types of copy? How do you position yourself to get that initial launch and be around the people that are actually in the trenches doing this stuff right now, like Nabeel and I? Because I'm working with clients. I actually signed a client last week. Very sophisticated client. Deal size is 5 figures. I'm still in the trenches. I know you're still in the trenches. And so, yeah, join the community. Love to see you there. It's going to be a really great place. We're going to add a lot of cool material for free, and also Sally Rouse stuff as well, which I think is pretty good stuff. So you'll probably buy it from us at some point too. But yeah, so now to get to what I was going to say, which is, what is that highest paying project? Besides funnel copy, which I'd say is more for the advanced category, right, of copywriters that have a little bit more experience, that are a bit more aware of all the different pieces, I would say the highest paying project is video copy. Because you have to understand, right, businesses, and I know you know this, Nabeel, I'm saying for the person watching, right, you have to understand that video copy is an opportunity to stand out from everybody else's advertising, because it's on video now. So you now have that additional layer. You have a 3D experience for them. They're no longer just seeing words. You can actually put a face behind those words. You can add tonality to those words. You can add surroundings to those words. You can add music to those words. Adding all of these pieces makes the sales experience better. In the first 10 seconds of a video, I can get so much information across to the reader over video that I cannot deliver with just pure text, And that's such a powerful feature of video. And it's part of the reason why many businesses are not completely relying on video, because it's well, are you a mother of 3 kids and you're struggling to, balance everything as a mom? You don't need to say that first line anymore. You can just have a mom literally holding her baby and being like, I was always so busy. And like, boom, like you've already transferred all the information just with the visual, for example, with a hook, right? So video copy shows up in many different places. I know I'm going on a bit of a tangent here, Nabeel, but bear with me, brother. Yeah, bear with me, brother. So you got Instagram Reels, where you're writing a script for somebody and they're speaking to the camera. You've got viral Reels on Instagram. You have video scripts for YouTube videos, long form videos. You have ads for Facebook or Meta ads where you actually write the script for an ad. You have these micro VSLs. I think you have a few thoughts on that as well. I'd love to ask you your perspective on micro VSLs and all the VSLs these days. But there's just so many different forms of video copy, and there's so much video copy in demand. I feel like it's the new email copy these days. It really feels like the front end. They don't even call it copywriter sometimes because they don't even understand. This is such an emerging demand for businesses that they don't even call it video copy. They're calling it ad scripts. They're calling it YouTube scripts. They're calling it Instagram scripts. They're just calling it scripts, but it's not scripts. It's copy. So, and it's across the board. Every single industry is now starting to, especially now, like AI is also able to generate video so much faster. That's part of why I think this has become so popular. Is like you can get AI to generate a lot of the video for you, and like make quick iterations and even use 11 Labs for like voiceover. That's like not even the actual business owner doesn't even have to record the video sometimes, Okay, I'm done. Thank you.
That was good. That was really good. I like that. So I had a call with a prospect a couple of weeks ago, and to speak to your point, they had they needed an in-house copywriter, like a house copywriter, right? And the guy who was doing the hiring, he showed me the list of deliverables, and that set of deliverables, in addition to all of the copy, included like something like 50 creatives a month, or even like close to 50 creatives a week. First of all, that's wrong. They don't need that many creatives a week. Yes, if you do the highly iterative approach where you're just churning out creatives with slightly different hooks but the same body, like you've got the hook variations, the body variations, and the CTA variations, and you just mix and match. Yeah, in that case, you're going to need 50 creatives a week. But if you create highly diverse creatives, then you're going to need 50 creatives a month, according to the new Andrometer update. So this scope of work included about 50 video creatives, to speak to your point. Now, I quoted them a 5-figure retainer, and they ended up going with a copywriter who quoted the 3-figure retainer. So now just imagine, I'm sure it's an inexperienced copywriter that quoted them 3K per month. That's who they went with. So I'm just imagining that copywriter is going to get burnt out really fast, and he's going to not only the burnout is going to come faster because he's not being paid enough for the work that he's doing. So he's not judging the amount of creative output that he has to put out every single week. And when you're not being paid enough as a contractor, this is something I noticed working in companies where they have several contractors working. What happens with the contractor is they start hiding. They pull back. They're not as responsive anymore. They're slower to deliver the work. My biggest client, who is my highest hassle client, I deal with their hassle because they pay me so much. I am willing to deal with their hassle because they're willing to pay me so much. Now, this guy, poor guy, I'm sure he's inexperienced. He just wanted to say anything that would get the job. So he quoted 3K a month. Fine. Congratulations, you got the gig, but you just fucked yourself because now you don't have the time to even go out and look for another client because you're writing so much copy. Right? So that's one point. To speak to your point about people wanting a lot of video creatives, video copy,
they probably would have taken the deal for 5K.
You would have?
I think many of them would have taken the deal for 5K.
It wasn't just video copy though. It was social media captions, it was email copy, it was landing pages, it was VSLs, it was funnels, it was
so there you go, right? It's like that's exactly what we talked about. It's like project 1 is funnel copy. That's the most important one. Then you've got all the video copy, which complements the funnel. And then the back end, which is what we talked about at the beginning of the conversation, which is all that email follow-up copy. So you literally, all 3 of those projects in that deal, I would also charge 10 grand at least. It's a full business. Like this is why it's like in these days, like you can make you can make six figures from just one client.
So that was one example, to speak to
Yeah.
your point. The second example is Jesse Hanley, creator of Bento, which is the email marketing platform I use. He asked me to write a VSL for his homepage. And I told you about the story yesterday. I direct responsed it. 3,000 words. Like, I threw the kitchen sink at it. Every technique that I know how to write a VSL with. I sent it to him and it says, yeah, this is good, but it's gonna go on our homepage and it needs to be 3 minutes long. And a 3 minute video is 450 words if you talk at a normal pace, right? So I'm trying to figure out, okay, how do I cut out a 3,000 word VSL and turn it into 450 words? Because I don't know about you, I sneeze 500 words. It's impossible for me to write short copy. So he was working with this contractor. They do end-to-end B2B video production. So you want to write like a product explainer video for your B2B SaaS. They have the studio, they have the actors, they will write the script, they'll do the recording, post-production, everything. So you get the final product. You don't have to do any of that. So that's her entire business is a productized service where B2B video production. So she rewrote my script and got it under 3 minutes. In fact, it's like 2 minutes and something. And the way that the video shows up now, it's on their homepage. You can go and see it. If you go to bentonow.com, is my script, but it's stripped down to the essence of the messaging. And so it's much more powerful as a video on a homepage. So if you are able to write that kind of punchy copy, 400 to 500 words for a homepage VSL, which is a 2 or 3 minute video, you could probably sell those for $500 a pop. That's
good money.
you'll be writing 3 scripts a day for 5 days a week. You get weekends off. You're working 3 hours a day. You get the rest of the day off, and you're making 30 grand a month. If you can manage to sell like 60 scripts.
It's the same length as emails, bro. It's 500 words, and yet you charge 5 times more. So
exactly.
I'm gonna say this, and we're gonna probably use it in the intro, okay, of this video. So you guys will hear this part at the beginning, and you're like, oh, I think I'm gonna click on this video, watch this for this. But it's like, okay, so you guys ready? So you're telling me that you can make 5 times more from this one type of copywriting project than writing emails. It's the same amount of work. Okay, cool. We can add that to the intro, and I'm going to keep the full edits into the podcast too, just so you guys like watched all the way to the end. You see that little piece, but that's the value, right? Like, I mean, email these days, you can charge $100 for the AI. AI can help you, and you write the email with AI. I mean, obviously, some businesses require more sophisticated email copy, and maybe we can have another conversation. Maybe we talk about what businesses are paying $200, $300, $500 for email copy at that price. Maybe we have our exclusive conversation in Copywriting Launchpad about that. But, these $500 VSLs, they're very straightforward. They're really just an expression of exactly what the product is. It's not a different angle or different idea. It's really just clearly communicating the value of the product, which is like already there. So it's almost all already pre-written for you. You're literally just collecting the pieces from the business that they already have and just structuring it together into a very, very simple VSL. And I'm sure that there's variations, but it's very affordable. This is, and it's like, it pays well, and it's probably their number one selling asset on that page. Like, literally the exact client I told you about, I signed last week. I'm writing a 3 to 5 minute VSL for them right now. So I'm writing this little micro VSL, exact same thing on the main page, writing this project for them. And then not only are we going to write that, we're also going to write 3 to 5 more of these mini VSLs to use for outbound salespeople, because it's a B2B service. So we're going to have this sort of outbound sort of pitch that is almost like this little mini VSL, and then have slightly different variations depending on what person we're targeting, if it's a sales director versus a CEO versus a marketing manager. So it's like, boom, there's 4 right there. There's 4 right there that could be $2,000. It'd take me a day to write it, And
if you want to turn that $500 job into a $3,000 job, you do it end to end, like Helena from Videodeck does. You can look her up. Helena at videodeck.co. That's the lady I was talking to you about, who does a productized video editing. So her full soup to nuts service is like $3,000 per video, where she'll write the script. She's got the actors on, in house. She's got the studio in-house, and you can choose which studio you want. If you go to her website, you can see, like, you can choose from 3 like different kinds of studios and different lighting, and you can even get the studio branded with your colors. They'll change the
Hmm.
lights to your brand colors, right? So you do that. You write the script, you find the actor, you get the studio, and then you do the recording and the post production. And you can charge, 3 grand to 5 grand per video, and it's B2B video production end to end. So you just got
It's
to start
impressive.
thinking
Hmm.
bigger, start
Yeah.
thinking bigger. And it's if I wanted to do it in Dubai, I could do it easy. Like, so what do? I can write the script, right? So then there's like 5,000 podcast studios in Dubai now. I don't know if you know about that. Podcast studios, they're popping up like weeds everywhere.
Yeah, because everybody
Pick
wants
a
to do those videos where they're talking,
Yeah,
like they're having a
exactly.
podcast. Yeah.
Exactly. So podcast studio, I can book a
Mm.
podcast studio for an hour. I can go to like a modeling agency, find somebody who wants to be an actress, and she can be the talking head in the video. But book her for an hour, get her in there, or him if it's a male actor. So that's going to be take a percentage of that $3,000 that I'm charging the client, pay for the post production, and then the remainder is my profit. You could probably end up with something like 80% margin, or 60 to 80% margin on a three thousand
Mm.
dollar thing, and then you just sell a bunch of that. 10 of those a month. You're at 30 grand. And why are we saying 30 grand now? Because $10,000 was like pre-inflation days.
Yeah, yeah,
Back when I
yeah.
was in 2015, I started copywriting. They were talking about $10,000 a month back then. Now, like, there's inflation, there's Bitcoin, so 20 grand a month is the minimum. I think we talked about this, right? We did the math
Mm-hmm.
on this. 20 grand a month is the minimum. 20 grand a month is the new 10 grand a month. But if you
Yep.
want to be comfortable, you want to be making close to 30, and it's easy
Yeah.
now with all the tools you have available. Even easier if you use copy systems to come up with the video scripts. So you're not writing the scripts anymore. You just have to use Matthew's copy systems, which he has several systems that will help you generate the videos, and you use that plus AI to generate the video scripts, and now you're doing like barely any work. Everybody else is doing the work. You've got the actress who's recording the video. You've got the podcast studio who's got the studio set up. You've got the podcast studio has the video production guys who record and do the post production. So all you're doing is you're just a salesperson now. You're not even writing any copy because AI takes care of that for you.
Mm.
So I mean, if you don't want to be a copywriter, that's a good job to do. Like,
There's just so many avenues. There's so many ways you can take it. That's all you first. It's not client first. It really is, I would say these days. And many businesses I've had this conversation with, like I've got a friend, and she must be making $2 million, $3 million per year, so she's a pretty established info business coach. And yeah, we were just talking about this. It's like, finding that copywriter for your business is, you're not going to find, you're not going to find somebody that's going to work for $2,500 a month full time for you, that's going to grow your entire copywriting business, unless you train them internally. If you want to work with the best in the game, the best copywriters, we all know our value. You're not going to get it for 2,500. Rather train up an assistant that's a marketing assistant and try internally teach them copywriting, right? It's like the best of the best. We all going to be charging $10,000 and more because copywriters today are building a business that's a multi-six-figure business. So I would say the power has also shifted from that perspective, which is great. Is like in 2020, I feel like many business owners sort of called the shots more than today. They used to call the shots, and they used to say, here's the deal, take it or leave it. You got to kind of slave away for us. And, maybe we'll throw you like a little bit of a brag here and there that you can use in your resume later. Whereas today, even agencies today are paying well. Even agencies today, they're paying well because the cost of not using good copy, the cost of not having a good copywriter, it's no longer just about growing a business. It's about keeping a business alive. It's about protecting the business, because in the past, it's like, a good copy will scale the business, but I don't need it because the business is okay with the average copy. Whereas now, average copy, your business is going to die. So you need to pay the copywriter. It's no longer one of these things where you can sit and wait. So this is the opportunity for everyone, there's money to be made. The business we have more control than ever before. It's like you said earlier, Nabeel, it's like, you have the problem, Mr. Client. You've got the bleeding neck issue. You've got the challenge. You have the opportunity you want to scale. Like, I'm sorted. I've got the skills, I got my business, I'm sorted. Here's the onboarding fee, take it or leave it. Like, we have the walkaway power because there's not enough good copywriters. And yeah, if you want to become a fantastic copywriter and you want to launch your career, then go to the description in this video and join us in Copywriting Launchpad. And Nabeel, yeah, it's been great, man. I'm looking forward to our private conversations that we're going to be putting in the community. It's great to get back on camera with you and chat about this stuff and in front of a lot of people. It's been fun. Thank you so much.
Likewise, thank you for the invitation, and thank you for responding so fast when I invited you to go half on this deal with me. One last point before we go to speak to what you just mentioned about finding a copywriter to grow your business and needing to pay them well. I actually mentioned this to a client one time. They were looking for a junior copywriter or something like that. And I told them literally, these were my exact words. If you want a good copywriter for cheap, you need to find them while they still have mindset issues and money mindset issues. Once they solve their issues, it's over. Like, you're never going to get them in-house, first of all, and you're never going to get them for cheap. So there's plenty of good copywriters out there that are dealing with mindset issues, that are dealing with money mindset issues. And for those copywriters, if you want to stop having those issues, like Matthew said, come join Copywriting Launchpad.
Bro, that's brutal, but that's brilliant. That's funny. Damn. That's true. It is true. Like, all the biggest issues that we have, I mean, a lot of people that like come and work with me and get coaching from me, they think that the problem is some sort of strategy or thing in their business. And literally, like, one of my private clients last week, he said to me, wow, I'm overthinking literally everything. Like, you've literally removed all the thinking stuff. I'm just taking action now. I was like, yeah, bro, you're already going to be successful. Like, you're just overthinking stuff. Like, it's a mindset thing, So yeah, let's continue the conversation, maybe even about mindset as well in Copywriting Launchpad. And yeah, bro, appreciate your time, and I'll see you soon. Thanks so much.